Thompson Warriors with Coach Freeman. Coach, who'd you bring with you today?
I'm going to let them introduce themselves, starting with a couple of offensive guys here on the right.
Let's use the microphone. Grab the microphone right there for me.
I'm going to let them introduce themselves. Here they are.
My name is RJ Evans. I'm a senior running back.
My name is Parker Middlestat. I'm a senior. I'm O-line.
My name is Chance Strong. I'm a linebacker senior.
My name is Price Lewis. I'm a senior receiver.
My name is Noah Streeter. I'm a senior defensive line.
To you guys, the players, how is it like now in the locker room as you guys ramp up for the season? What's the energy like?
It's great, seeing a lot of new faces, just being able to just grow as a team, being able to evolve through the off season, with hard times, just being able to pick each other up and just bring motivation to each other.
I would say it's definitely fun competing every day. Me as a receiver going against DBs, we make the DBs better, and the DBs make us better as well.
In the locker room, we've grown more as brothers. On the defensive line side of the ball, we've learned to lean on each other. And as the O-line goes, we've learned that in the beginning, the O-line starts off slow, but when it comes down to the end and the finish, that's when our real brothers come out. That's when the real work starts to show, and they come out and they show what Thompson football is.
I like how we can compete out on the field, or in the indoor when we're doing drills, but when we're in the locker room, we're all brothers and we're all there to support each other.
Like Chance said, it's been a lot of new faces, but we've been learning to lean on each other and get each other's back. Personally, the running back room, we found out quick that we were going to be really powerful this season. So we're really excited about that.
RJ, I actually kind of want to stick with you for a second because now you're heading into a bigger role now as the lead back, but obviously with some talented backs behind you. What's it been like prepping for the season, and how have you really stepped up as the leader of the running back room?
I just get the other running backs on my back. They got my back. They know I got their back, and we just get that understood, and that's all we gonna do.
With Parker, you back as the leader of this offensive line. What has it been like working with the younger guys now with you in a bigger role?
It's always great because for me, I like to set an example and lead by example. So I've really just been trying to elevate myself to set a great example for them as they're trying to fill the new positions.
Coach, what have you seen in this group? It's a new year. It's new players at different key spots for you in some areas, but you got a lot of experience coming back. What have you seen in your team this offseason?
I've just seen a great work ethic. They've all hit on the chemistry of our team. I think the chemistry of our team is probably as good or better than we've ever had here, just from a chemistry standpoint. They've worked hard since January. They've been there for each other during those days when you're training, it gets hard, and all season, all them days start running together. And I think we have like 135 workouts between January and spring training, and we lean on that. We lean on our work. We lean on our work ethic of how we go about our business when we're training. And I think for me as a coach, we need those training periods. We need all those workouts, but it really selfishly gives me a really good opportunity for all our kids to get to know each other and be with each other every single day and to grow. And it's like I tell them, there's gonna be days we all don't get along, but we're a team. When we're here together, we're gonna love each other, support each other, and I really don't have a complaint in the offseason. Our work ethic was great. They showed up every day. Our effort was tremendous. Coach Bunning, our strength and conditioning guy, has done a tremendous job. We've changed a couple things off-season training that me as head coach, I really wanted to see some interest put in those areas. And man, he's returned the two areas I was really concerned about. I want to see improvement. They've been tenfold. Like, I cannot believe one of the areas we needed to get better in, and I'm not going to divulge, but I've seen it was tenfold return, and I know that's going to be good for us. And really, the two things we concentrate on was some things to help our explosion and things like that. And I can't say enough about what Coach Bunning has done in the offseason for our program. We don't have a workout that every coach in my staff's not at that workout. So, I mean, it's a team effort. 6 o'clock in the morning, all our guys are here. And I just think over the period of time, that just helps us build, awareness of each other and to value each other for what we've all been through. Everybody on our staff, our coaches, our players, everybody has been through since January to get this situation that we feel like going into this season, we got a good chance to be really good.
Coach, every year, everybody knows your running backs, your quarterback, your receiver groups, your defensive line, but not everybody knows your offensive line every year. And I know Parker's sitting right beside you. How key is the line going to be this year for you guys?
Well, it's every year. Football, I go back to Coach Bryant years, and that's the era I was raised in. When Coach Bryant was coming through and the end of his career and all that. And you cannot win football games if you can't win the line of scrimmage. You can win some plays, but you can't win the game. And so the job that Trey Clark and Tyler Scazzaro do with our offensive line, it's like Noah said earlier, they get better as the year goes. And I think every state championship we've won here, we've won because we could run the ball and we stopped the run. At some point, we were able to stop the run. And so I think football starts there. I think you have to run the football as much as we like to throw it, but I just haven't seen, I haven't seen whether it be a national championship at the college level, the NFL level, or much less the high school level. I just haven't seen true champions that are able to throw the ball every time. In November, November, December, championship time, you never know about weather. You never know if you're going to have to play in a downpour. You never know if you're going to play in, freezing cold temperatures where the ball obviously feels different. So how do you get yourself ready? You're prepared to be able to run the ball, stop the run, and do some things off your run game offensively. So that's what we kind of focus on now. If a team wants to come up and stop our run, I feel really confident in our throwing game that we can throw the football as good as anybody in the state. I think Trent has done a great job. Our receivers have a great offseason. We're confident. If we had to throw it every down, that'd be okay with me personally to have fun. But so I know we can do that. We have great 7-on-7s every year. So I just think the awareness of our players to know that we have to run the football, we have to stop the run, and have to be really great on special teams. The old school football stuff, to me, that never changes. And I feel like we're good in all those areas right now.
Parker, where do you see the offensive line, the guys that you're with, starting really fall camp? How's the offensive line going to be this season?
I think the offensive line is going to be great. I mean, all the new guys who are replacing the seniors who left have just really done a great job of stepping up, and our coaches have done a great job in preparing us and putting us through those drills and those team exercises to make sure that we can depend on each other and that we can just do our job to the best of our ability.
Do you feel like as a senior you have a role in that?
Yes, sir. I do think that I have a role to kind of show them how it's done and to help them on and off the field. And I just need to be that guy that's dependable to them in any situation that they need me to be in.
How do you feel about 3 versus 2 in the first round this year?
I got my opinions on that. So, like I said, I want to make something about media day. You see people talk media day and they get off onto these other things. I really want to keep media day about our players, our program, and the things we're trying to do this year. But there's definitely an interest there on Region 2 and Region 3, first round of the playoffs matching up and stuff like that. But I think there's another day probably for that conversation.
Coach, I know special teams were a big conversation earlier on in the summer, especially not having John Allen over at punter. Who have you started working in at kicker and punter this year, and who do you think are kind of in that mix right now?
Well, right now, we're just now in July really starting to center and focus on that. There's about 4 guys out there trying to kick right now. I don't know how that will shake out. Like I said, at the end of the day, all of our quarterbacks can punt. At some point, all of our quarterbacks can't kick the ball. So punting, I'm not that concerned about. John Allen could boom them out of the stadium, as you guys know, but there's also an element too that when your quarterback can punt, you gotta be prepared for all that too. And all of our quarterbacks that currently play quarterback, they all can kick a little bit. So we're looking at there, and then we're looking at 2 or 3 other young guys that have moved up from our freshman team that do a great job. So really, I don't know who that person will be right now, but I know that we've got 2 or 3 really good, steady, extra point field goal kickers, and then punting, we're still trying to figure out what we want to do on that.
Sounds good. Chance and Noah, so much of the defense's mentality over the last few years has been next man up, and you guys are now as the seniors kind of those next guys now. What's it been like in the defense, and what have you guys been working on over the offseason to make sure that you guys can continue reaching the standard that Thompson's defenses have been reaching for so long?
Growth and just maturity and just leadership. I've seen a lot of differences this year. A lot of guys have stepped up that haven't really been stepping up years prior to that. And I just feel like with this year coming on, we could just be better than last year and the year before that and the year before that, because we have so much potential throughout the whole side. DBs and linebackers and D-line, we just have so much growth, and we have rotation that we're able to do anything we want to.
Again, with the leadership, I feel like we've grown with our leadership role in the locker room and on the field. I feel like we have some guys that have finally stepped into the role that they're been placed into. Like, I feel like we have some guys in our safety room, like DeMonte Tab, Eli King. We got some guys in our cornerback room, like Michael Fleming, Terry Robinson. They're all ready. I feel like we're all ready, and we have young guys that had to play the year prior to this. So I feel like now that the stage is here, we're going to be ready for any opponent that comes near, because we have the faith and we've been putting in the work. So faith without works is dead, and I feel like we have both.
Price, want to keep it with you for a second. Obviously, much has been made of y'all's passing game, and with the talented receiving room, you included. So from being on inside of that and being the veteran leader of the group, what have you seen out of the guys on a day-to-day basis between you, Trent, Dedrick, Darian, all those guys?
I just see a lot of want to. Like, we all want to continue to grow, get better as a whole receiving corps. We train every day. We put in the work every day, countless hours. We train with Coach Nalu Tagovailoa, so he's a great trainer, and I just see a lot of want to that we want to be great this year.
Coach, talk a little bit about RJ and his style, what he brings to the running back room for y'all.
Well, RJ knows how I feel about him. He's been with me a long time, and I thought he had a tremendous year last year. I thought that he grew up last year at some point, and saw what he could do. And I think I saw the change. I saw the light come on in his eyes, and he had to come in and work. And he was fortunate that he had some help at that running back spot. But I told him last year, next year is going to be your year. And like I said, I'm really proud of him. There were some things that we personally want to work on his game, some physical things in his game, some things that we said, hey, let's get better in this area and this area. And there again, he's overproduced in those areas that I thought, when me and him talked, hey, if we can do this, this will put you over the top as far as recruit. If we can do this, and he already does the intangibles. He don't fumble. He's smart. He's a great receiver. He sees the game. Great running backs, they can either see it or they can't. There's some great downhill runners, yes, but the good ones, they can see zone fixing to pop. They can see power, linebackers sliding over, and RJ just possesses all that. I think he's probably one of the most overlooked running backs right now, that I think once the season gets rolling and you see the way that he's increased some of the things that those college guys will be looking for, his speed, his agility, his overall weight. I think that he's going to have a breakout year, and like I said, I'm really proud of him. I'm proud of all these guys. Obviously, I wouldn't have them here if I didn't. I take it very seriously who I bring to these events, and all these guys have earned the right to be sitting here. But RJ, you asked about RJ, and I couldn't be more pleased with the way he's come along, what he's been doing.
You know, when you have a back like that can catch the ball out of the backfield, how much more of a weapon does it bring to the offense?
Yeah, it's tremendous. And, you know, we played him some. We can play him in a slot receiver if we wanted to, but why do that when I can get him from the backfield in the same situations? And that's the great thing about RJ is that he's very, very, very smart. We can move him around. I can put him anywhere I want to put him. I can put him at wide out at a Z or X, Y spot, whatever we want to do with him. And to plan our offense, that's one thing we kind of demand. We start talking about our language. You know, we call our language. We start talking about that in January. You know, so he's, like I said, he's got the intangibles of he's very smart. His hands are tremendous. He could play slot receiver for us. And so when you got that kind of running back, plus, like I said, he's smart and handles the ball, don't turn the ball over. He's everything I would want. If I was at the next level, I would want RJ on my team.
Coach, obviously you guys yet again have another really difficult non-region schedule, especially out of the gate with Carver and Grayson. I know from speaking to you in the past that you like to use those games to kind of figure out what you guys have for your team. That said, what are you most going to be looking for from this team in the first couple of games in terms of improvement and things they have to show you in order for you to feel really good about this team come region play?
Well, just typical things. On defense, we got to lock up and tackle people. We got to contain. We're going to play two really good quarterbacks those first two games. So, you know, as pass rushers, we got to be responsible. We got to stay in our lanes. We can't be selfish. We can't chase people down. Those first two games, we're going to play two tremendous athletes and quarterbacks. So those games are going to be so beneficial for our defensive line to learn to maintain pass pressure, but yet still play the run. That's going to be really good from a defensive standpoint. Both quarterbacks are going to be really good, really fast. Offensively, both defenses, you know, Carver has got, they picked up a new player here recently that's a tremendous Division I player. They already had 3 or 4 over there. That's the thing I like playing about Carver is we played them in 7-on-7 and team speed, they probably have more team speed than anybody we played all summer. And so we're going to see great team speed on both sides of the ball from both teams. We're going to see very well coached football teams. And then also, you know, Grayson, you're going to see a national power. And then Carver, like I said, their coach is a good friend of mine. And I think that's a good game for both of us to see each other. And at the end of the day, you take these games and you evaluate them going into that first week of your region play. And you say, we need to work on this area, or we feel good about this area. So those two games, they wash out. If you win them both, you flush them. If some don't go your way at 1 or 2 of them, you also flush that, and you use those as a stage. We don't have OTAs here. We don't have stuff that we can do in July. So here in Alabama, we have to use those 2 games. Like Grayson will have 3 or 4 OTAs by the time we play them. They'll have 2 or 3 games under their belt by the time we play them. When we play Carver, we will have nothing but a couple of days against ourselves. So you got to keep things relevant to where we want to be. We want to be in the playoffs. We want to be a good football team come week 10. And we want to use these 2 weeks to help us become a better football team, along with week 5, which we have Clay Chaffel every year. Mm-hmm. And so I think those 3 games, they go into the end of the year and they help make our guys. We see really good team speed. We see really good, strong teams. So, yeah, we use those games to kind of evaluate where we need to get better.
Awesome. I'm good. Anybody else?
Coach, want to pass it down to Streeter real quick? Streeter, in one word, what does it mean to be a Thompson Warrior?
Blessed.
Coach Lewis?
Favorite.
Strong?
Honored.
Faith.
Powerful.
Coach, you got any final comments, remarks?
I don't. I appreciate you guys. I appreciate these guys for being here today. And I know you guys are tired. We're off the record, I guess.